Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is Mehar Singh with Nanak Nivaas doing the English Brahm Vichar session over Sablo Granth, and in particular, Lo Prakash. We'll be going over the commentary section as well as the traditional pronunciation as well. So we'll also be doing the Vichar session later and the Nididhyasana. Um, with that, we are going to go ahead and start with our normal recitation. Vaheguru Ji Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Do Tuki Doira Rahau. That was the previous passage. Bakshi Shri Hajur Rahova Chand. Kalse de Parsad Kar Sut Bit Ko Sabandar. Rajamal Sadan Sakal Putar Kalitar Bivhar. Leska Nebkas Brit Anuchar Dasidas Mitter Kunta Vadan Bhavana Mam Simrid Kipakaratas Garim Beri Ar Sahibi Tanaman Pind Paran Prasad Kalsekar Milio Danaman Sanaman Kirpa Kanta Kalsa Saralite Prasad Bayo Guar Mosse Rank Anat Jagbakat Fere Kuror Seva Kalse Ki Safala Puja Astuvan Argapad Tanaman Sanaman Karkuras Bidkol Suvad Anasev Nahi Safal Kacha Itu Utpaloka Nefal Seva Isbina Laghi Harka Sog Jajan Bajan Mam Kalsa Kalsa Puj Be Jog Das Gobind Fate Kalsa Taras Paras Mite Rog Meri Ishta Arnesta Kalsa Pujan Dehyana Darsan Parsan Kalsa Mukat Rupa Sat Jan Meri Ishta Arnesta Kalsa Pujan Dehyana Darsan Parsan Kalsa Mukat Rupa Sat Jan. And there we'll be breaking for the next octet, or for the next section. That concludes our Sunya. Now to the Manye, where I will read the commentary. And for the second half of our Vichar section. Bakshi Shri Hazur, through the blessings of the omnipresent Lord and Guru, Rova Chand, the Rova meter of poetry. Kalsade Parsad Karsut Bit Kosa Bandar. Due to the praise of the Khalsa, I have gained a son, wealth, and treasure. Rajamal Sadan Sakar Putar Kalitar Bivhar. The rain, the treasures, the house, sons, daughters, and all trade. Laskar Nibikvas Brit Anuchar Dasidas. The splendorous armed forces, those who guard the doors, assist in clothing, fill up the water, and servants of others. Mitar Kuntavadan Bhavan Mam Simrid Kirpa Kartas. It is through the grace of the Khalsa that I've gained these material objects, including death. Garinim Bare Ar Sabihi Tanaman Pinda Paran. Sitting within the ivory of an elephant, and to give commands to the soul, mind, body, life breaths. Waheguru. Prasad Kalse Karmelio Danaman Sanaman. It is through the grace of the Khalsa that I have gained respect, glory, and this great elevated position. Kirpa Vanta Khalsa Saralate Parsad Bahyo Guar. The Khalsa is the one who gives grace and lives a humble life. It is through the grace of the Khalsa that I have become great. Mose rankanata jagabakata ferie karor. If it was not for the Khalsa, this poor being would be whipped and become a scourge of humanity like others. Sevakalse ki safal puja astutuvan argapad. By serving the Khalsa, one is able to gain all merit. One should worship and praise the Khalsa, and with pure water wash the feet of the Khalsa. Tanamana sanamana karkura sibidako suvad. You should be charitable to the Khalsa, give them great respect, and feed them the 16 different types of food which the tongue desires. Anasev nahi safar kacha et utapaloka. There is no other service that will provide you with a similar merit, either in this world or the next. Nefal seva isabina lagi haraka soga. Without serving the Khalsa, all other service is useless and only grants displeasure. Jajan bhajan mam Khalsa Khalsa puja be joga. Even though my conscious thoughts and worship are towards the Khalsa, it is the Khalsa that has convinced me to start the worshipping, or to start worshipping Vaheguru. Dasa Govinda Fate Khalsa Daras Paras Mitte Roga. Sri Guru Gobind Singh states the complete Creator Lord, who the Khalsa belongs to, will be victorious. By seeing the Khalsa or adopting the order, will eradicate all pain. Meri Ishta Aranista Khalsa Pujandeyan. In my mind and in my focus, I both realize that the Khalsa is worthy of respect. Darsan Parsan Khalsa Mukata Rupa Sata Janna. The Khalsa is someone who is liberated whilst alive. The Khalsa is worthy of serving and gaining a divine glimpse. Understand this to be the truth. That concludes our Manier portion, or the first section of it. We'll be pausing the recording briefly in order to move on to our second section, and then we will rejoin for the conclusion of class, which is our discussion questions to take home and think about, and our practice to kind of consider, our contemplative practice. Hang on one second. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Rejoining for the Nididhyasana portion of our class. We've had a long discussion and great questions have come up. I trust that everyone has read through the text, and there's a couple of points to be noted. Firstly, that here in several lines, we see once again that the Khalsa is to be worshipped, and the Khalsa is compared to the Guru, as well as the source of grace, wealth, and family. But also, along with that, the point is made that the Khalsa is to be directly worshipped and is given several examples, such as washing the feet of the Khalsa, having the Khalsa's darshan, and giving the Khalsa wealth, as well as the 16 different flavorful foods. Along with that, the Khalsa is also kind of, we're given a kind of insight in how to spot the Khalsa as they live humbly, and yet living humbly, they give out greatness, very similar to Baba Nanak. In our Manier discussion, we came up with a new Nididhyasana practice and a new Nididhyasana, not practice, but contemplative practice. So the thoughts to consider over the week will be this kind of juxtaposition of two ethos. One is the kind of emerging ethos we can see about the Khalsa and warriorship. Warriorship being very comfortable with the ambiguity of their own life, their own jiva, with life and death. Warriors throughout the ages could perish and give up their life in a number of ways, sometimes by their decision, some oftentimes not. And so any warrior that is comfortable and naturally a warrior becomes very comfortable with the ambiguity of life and death. But because of that ambiguity of life and death, warriors are very precise with their words, with their expression, because it could be their last. And what we see nowadays in the kind of merchant's era is the exact polar opposite, the flipping of that ethos. And people are very uncomfortable with the certainty of death. They do whatever it takes to avoid facing that truth, and will often take on immortality projects, such as building a big business, a skyscraper, becoming a trillionaire, the normal stuff. But there's lots of immortality projects, such as making art or even having family. These are all immortality for the ego. And at the same time, because of this overarching anxiety caused by the ego knowing it will perish and being uncomfortable with it, they hide behind words. And so the words and their expressions become more ambiguous. Words begin to lose their meaning. And so, where once upon a time in Sikh Itihas, langar was a very specific thing, a very specific act, a communally served kitchen of volunteers focused on both feeding everyone's bellies so that spiritual progress can be made, so that liberation can occur. And even through the act of carrying on the kitchen of langar, liberation was occurring. But now, langar could be the meal at someone's private home at an akan pot. It could be a public service in a community kitchen, such as a food bank or a soup kitchen, or it could just be the potluck lunch that we have every day after Gurdwara, after Divan. So langar no longer means something specific. And in a sense, because none of these are the same, they're all distinct. Langar has lost a little bit of its definition, of its clarity, and is now covered in more ambiguity. This is the kind of dual ethos we see emerging from the warrior's ethos that is comfortable with the ambiguity of life and death and precise in their words, to a deluded ego that fears the precision of death and tries to hide behind the ambiguity of words, both their own and others. And so that's going to be the Nididhyasana contemplation practice for the next week. Take that idea, take it home, think about it, meditate on it. Is it truthful? Does it have merit? What does it mean? How does it reflect? Etc. And I will see everyone next week for our continued. We'll be starting at forgot. We'll be starting at the Astak, which is a whole new section, kind of almost a dividing line through the middle of Lo Prakash here. Thank you all for joining me, and Nanak Nivaas, the English Bon Vichar for Lo Prakash, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you.